opened the door. She was smiling at me. Her brain just snaps.
Whiskey for the pain.
Hey everyone, this is Aaron Von Lupton, and I am back with another episode of Listen to My Nightmare. And this time we are not interviewing a band. We actually have a composer, and it's a composer for a movie that everyone's talking about right now. That the film is, of course, Together. And the name of the composer is Mr. Cornel Wilczek. Some of his other films that he's worked on thus far, also out of Australia, Talk to Me and Bring Her Back. In terms of instrumentation on the score, I assume it's primarily electronic, but you also bring in some vocalizations as well during certain parts of it. There's some female vocals and that sort of thing.
Yeah, yep. So there's a kind of a lot going on. There aren't that many kind of like synths or anything like that. It's all processed. A lot of the source material is acoustic. There's actually a hell of a lot of guitar and vocals in it, and then there is the orchestra on top that has kind of some of the bigger moments, kind of that work in and out and weave throughout it. So it's a fairly expansive kind of score, but wanted it to still feel small, still feel it's essentially it's two characters and a third that comes in every now and then. So wanted to feel like it was on their scale. Some of the main themes that are used to are kind of love themes that hopefully kind of cut through a little bit every now and then, and essentially, even though it is a horror, kind of wanted to keep that element quite strong in the foundation, even if it is skewed and bent and stretched and manipulated, for that melodic element to pop through every now and then.
So I think the score ends up using a bit of misdirection as well, right?
Absolutely. That misdirection is really fun, and it was fun to play with that. There's a really fun moment where, we've got this very limiting kind of palette that keeps everything kind of fairly intimate. And then there's that bit towards the end where they go outside, ready to kind of work this mystery out. And it goes into an almost orchestral kind of adventure score for literally only about a minute. And that's fun, getting the license to do that, because it just felt like the film absorbed it really well. And I feel like when I've seen it with an audience, there was literally just watching the body language around me, there's this kind of a little bit of an ease, like everybody's like, and gets back, because it takes away a bit of the tension and lets everyone have a bit of fun for the moment. And all that was fairly intentional from the director. He really, really wanted to make a fun film first and foremost.
Tim. Ah!
What?
I think one of my favorite tracks on the whole, the score is, I think it's called I Just Saw It Through Our Fucking Arms is the name of the track. This is sort of, to me, the closest it gets to a more traditional classic kind of horror sound, obviously, right?
Absolutely.
What instruments were being used in that particular track? Do you recall?
Oh, that's mostly orchestra. That's just, straight out standard orchestration. Doing it and recording it is like, oh, this would have been fun to do a bit more of this in the film. But I think that's its strength, is that it only happens once there. But, I felt the players really digging into it, whereas the rest of the score, they have to really slowly bend notes and do all this almost, liquid string stuff that's quite punishing on a lot of players. So that was their chance to kind of let their hair down, and they only got a minute of it, which I'm sorry.
In Together, of course, you get to work with the Spice Girls. That's the tie-in.
Yeah.
What was that like, working around the Spice Girls?
I remember reading that in the script going, oh, that's fun. You good call. That's really good.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, it's so great that it ends on that track of the Spice Girls. I really hope there's a bit of room for score after that, because one thing that I felt score-wise was incomplete after reading the script was this opportunity to really reinforce this idea of the almost religious ecstasy that this is based around. It was a cult that had a church and all of this, and we never really got to see or hear the religious ecstasy play out. I thought this there could be an opportunity there to get it in after the Spice Girls, but obviously it kind of ends with the Spice Girls. It should end like that. It's a perfect ending. Licensing a song is expensive, and it got to a stage where it's like, oh, can't afford the whole song over the whole scene. And I remember going, "You're going to have to end it." I'm like, "Yes." So that was great. I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and to be honest, that piece of music was the first thing that I wrote for the film.
Likely the thing that got your name on the map for a lot of people, especially the people that are watching this particular show, would be Talk to Me.
Talk to Me was a very different experience to Together, where I was brought in before they started shooting. Talk to Me, they were working with another composer, but things didn't work out for one reason or another, and they reached out to a bunch of different composers around the world, and I don't know why they reached out to me. I mean, I at this that stage done I had a few films under my belt, but just small Australian films and a lot of TV shows. I'd been doing TV, and I was really working a lot in the supernatural area. That was my, although horror, I feel like is my favorite genre. I'd never ever worked on a horror film or a horror TV show or anything like that. It was a point that I finally got to prove that is, I really love horror. Like this is, I grew up with horror movies. They were everything to me when I was a kid, and a teenager. And I got into film because that's what I wanted. I got into music because that's what I wanted to do. But
Oh, wow.
slowly over the years, it's not that it ever faded, but it's thought this is a really hard industry to break into. And there'd been a few horror films that had kind of crossed my path, but didn't, didn't really enjoy them and couldn't really say yes to them. Um, get a few scripts and it's like, it's not quite right. So I kind of got involved in a lot of supernatural based TV and thoroughly loved that. But yeah, it's been a blast.
All right. Thank you
Thanks.
very much, Cornell. And for
No
the
worries.
rest of you, this has been Aaron Von Lupton, RUE MORGUE TV. Listen to my nightmare and tune in next time. I think you're going to like it.